Greetings, everyone. This is Rock and Roll Spot coming at you with the weekly comic book roundup, and we've covered this week's X-Men books as well as a couple from last week. Now it's time to move on to this week's Avengers titles, along with a couple miscellaneous Marvel books. Kicking things off, we've got Avengers number 64, continuing the Avengers Assemble crossover, wrapping up Jason Aaron's Avengers run. So where we left off in Avengers, the Avengers are facing off against the multiversal Masters of Evil in prehistoric Earth alongside the prehistoric Avengers. The Phoenix, the prehistoric Phoenix, however, while not present, is on her way. So, already the prehistoric Ghost Rider sacrificed himself to prevent a plague from wiping out prehistoric life on prehistoric Earth. But the issues are generated by Iron Man, going over all the various things they've had that Earth has been through just by that point. So the the Avengers are facing off against King Killmonger. Iron Man's able to hold the faceplate of his armor open long enough, and for Odin, Thor, and Captain Marvel to put a hurting on him, at least to, scratch the pain at least. And Iron Fist goes in to finish him off. Meanwhile, Iron Man ends up in a cave. Where he finds his father, Howard Stark, from an alternate Earth. This is, in fact, the Howard Stark that became the Iron Inquisitor. But apparently, he's been instructed by Mephisto to basically offer Tony the opportunity to, join up. But Tony's like, nah, ain't having it. And so Tony and Howard duke it out while the rest of the Avengers deal first with Black Skull, managing to basically Black Skull gives up control, or gives full control to the symbiote, and they're able to take him down, and the symbiote leaves, joining instead with Kid Thanos. So now they have to face a symbiote-empowered Thanos. While Valkyrie and the Phoenix, deal with the Dark Phoenix, and are able to get additional assistance from some of the other Avengers throughout history that they've encountered. Sergeant Zaros, Reno Phoenix and the Starbrand Kid, the Ghost Ronin, and the T-Rex Starbrand. But they're able to, the rest of the Avengers are able to take care of Thanos, and the Dark Phoenix's identity is revealed to be Mystique, as after her seeming defeat at the hands of Echo, and Valkyrie, well, Iron Man shows up, but the real Iron Man is messing shit up for for Howard Stark, destroying the Iron Inquisitor armor and then crushing his hands so they can't rebuild it. Mystique finds Doom and realizes that Doom's not even there. Doom is, in fact, on Doom, the living planet, and heading towards Earth. That is where the issue ends. I'm really enjoying this crossover, and I mean, I'm apparently in something of a minority, but I've been liking Aaron's run. There've been some, I've had some criticisms, but it's been an enjoyable run overall. Moving on to our next book, we've got Captain America: Sentinel of Liberty, number 8. Where we left off, AIM had taken over New York, and Captain America had woke up in Kansas, not New York. So, well, turns out that, yeah, AIM has taken over, at the very least, Manhattan. Putting a energy dome around the city. And makes a few calls. Meanwhile, some of Cap's allies, his classmates, as well as his neighbor, are trying to find him about what's going on when a couple AIM agents show up and torch Cap's apartment. But they're then taken down by Cap's allies. Before his allies are taken prisoner. But Captain America of the Railways manages to get some of Cap's allies to Cap, namely Redacted, Nick Fury, Sharon and Peggy Carter, and Destroyer. Basically comparing notes about what's going on and realizing that they're all missing a few days of memory. And kind of, they need someone that, a psychic, and well, turns out Steve might have had a bit of a tryst with Emma Frost, and kind of said if he ever needs her, he just has to think a certain word very loudly. Mommy. Emma shows up. Peggy is definitely not game for letting Emma into her head. But she's able to figure out she's able to get in and figure out what happened. And apparently, there's a new version of MODOK. This one with a C, mental organism designed only for control. Put a few memory blocks in the memories of the Redacted, Nick Fury, Cap, Destroyer, and Sharon. But apparently MODOK puts them on pause and minds them for their secrets. And Emma, as she leaves, asks Steven to please be a stranger, as mutants have their own MODOK problems to deal with. And Cap's still thinking about Bucky being with the Outer Circle. But he's got a plan. The team he's leading into battle: Redacted, the Dryad, Nick Fury, the Destroyer, Sharon Carter. Well, he's calling them the Invaders. That is where the issue ends. Very interesting. Not something I would have expected to happen. Though it all ties back to events from Captain America #0 earlier, a few months back. So, but yeah, good stuff so far. The stuff with Emma was fun. Anyway, moving on to our next book, we've got Captain Marvel #45. Where we left off, the Brood had captured Carol and her strike team and had put them into a I don't necessarily want to say hallucination, but basically kind of a group. Basically, they're going through a scenario. They're mentally going through a scenario where they've won. They're celebrating. Everyone's having fun. But Remy knows something's up. Talks to Quanon, who also realizes that something's up. And Quanon stabs him with her psychic knife, basically rebooting him. And he's able to get free of his bonds. And manages to wake up Carol. And they work on getting everyone else taken care of as well. The Brood attack. They're repulsed. There's a console, but it needs a live Brood, so Wolverine has to not kill one of them so they can get information. There are 2 power signatures, and so the idea is that they split up into 2 teams, going after each one. Before they do that, however, there's a swarm of Brood in the ceiling that attack them, and once they're taken down, the teams are decided, and they split up. However, the Brood Empress has been watching, and the teams the heroes are going directly into the traps that have been set for them. With the Empress stating that the Brood's brave new world order demands powers, and their powers they shall have. It's also pointed out that the Brood has somewhat learned a lesson about dealing with Wolverine. As Wolverine is much flagged for elimination as quickly as possible. That is where the issue ends. This is definitely interesting. Well, I like this arc so far. And before the next issue, we will actually have an issue of X-Men crossing over. So not the next issue of X-Men, but next month's issue of X-Men. Moving on, however, to our next book, we've got Scarlet Witch #1. This is the first of a Scarlet Witch miniseries, so cool. So apparently, Wanda Maximoff, the Scarlet Witch, has opened an occult shop in small town of Lockhill, New York. She also goes to stop a magic-related threat. A scientist who's looking to turn people into amphibious creatures, namely bored rich people. But she arrives late for the shop. But her single sole employee, Darcy, opened up already and got things started. Quicksilver shows up. Quicksilver. One feature of the shop is the last door. Part seeking spell, part portal. It finds those at their lowest, those with nowhere to turn, and brings them to the shop. A woman from Italy steps through it, however. It's explained that, as you know, Jefferson Day, the Corruptor, has shown up in the town she lives in, and basically taken over. Everyone does what she says, but somehow she's able to resist. She's known that this is not right, and she's all along. turns out the pendant she wears. It's a worry stone. It's explained that Unit's father gave it to her. He was a miner who grew up in the Catskills, in Lockkill. But it the stone resists Wanda and her magics. So Wanda and Unit go to a town in Italy, and Wanda deals with the Corruptor, who tries to point out that, hey, look at what all you've done. Makes her remember, and he's like, hey, yeah, I know what I've done, and I'm trying to make up for it. But Corruptor gets turned to stone. The people of the town are freed of his influence. And she says, if they destroy what is now the statue that is the Corruptor, well, they've truly fallen for his influence. But Wanda wants to do some studying on the Worry Stone, so Unit gives it to her, and well, she also has an IOU from the Emporium. It turns out that Darcy came to know Wanda by stepping through the last door, but didn't say why, and Wanda isn't present, but she isn't pushing, but she does, maybe a friendly nudge. As the two of them are about to head for dinner, someone else walks through the last door. Vision. And Wanda has explained to Darcy that Vision, one could say, is Wanda's daughter. But apparently Viv's dreams will not let her go, and they're trying to kill her. That is where the issue ends. Interesting start. I think this is a miniseries. 5 issues or so. We'll see. But off to a strong start. Moving on to our next book, we've got Secret Invasion number 3. Where we left off, we discovered that Iron Man has been replaced, is among those who had been replaced by the Skrulls, and immediately figure out a way around blood tests. So Iron Man calls up, Iron Man gets in touch with Maria Hill, wanted to talk to her. She skydives down, arrives at his brownstone, and he explains that he is working with, apparently it is Iron Man. It is Tony Stark. But there are additional Iron Mans. Or Skrulls. And he explains that he met Squirrel Girl, introduced him to the Skrull by the name of Gillian Glaxithor. And Squirrel Girl helped him get over his prejudices, and she's Jillian as she prefers now, has been working with Iron Man, and he's kind of been sending her out. He's been sending her and afterwards other Skrulls out to do kind of not as major Iron Man stuff, but mainly just stopping purse snatching, smash and grabs, D-list supervillains, stuff like that. But and he also explains how it is they're able to beat the blood test, subcutaneous blood packs. So Maria pops him in the jaw and sticks a syringe in his tongue, takes a blood sample. Proves that yes, it is Tony. And Tony tries to get Maria to trust Tony and trust the Skrulls, or at least explaining it's not the Skrulls, it's their military, whatever the factions, so on and so forth. Maria refuses, however, and the issue ends with her firing, seemingly, at the Skrulls. Maria Hill goes hard. Just saying, she goes hard. I'm very curious as to how this whole story arc how this whole miniseries is going to play out. It's been something. Moving on to our last movie, we've got Planet Hulk Worldbreaker, number 3. Where we left off, Amadeus Cho and Tala were trying to find She-Hulk, who it turns out is plugged into the flying city, and basically giving them keeping the city powered. So we get the legend of Jen, which Tala is passing on to a screen that she's able to actually see what's going on inside the prison. Turns out that the Hargs were made by Amadeus. Some through science and some, as he puts it, through love. But Tala is definitely one of the latter. But the two of them are attacked by a giant armor monstrosity and saved by Korg. The trio heads to the floating city. Apparently, however, it's not appreciated by the leader of the city that Korg was bringing strays. They find Jen, free her from the machines, which causes the floating city to fall to the ground, to fall to the planet, landing in the ocean. So it's an island. But the plan, so Tala, Cho, Korg, and She-Hulk break in and rescue the prisoners, but after they do so, they realize there's no equipment. It was a trap. And the High Priestess explains that she was at the steps when the last Shadow Elders stood against the Fifth Imperium. And so her campaign against the Harg is because she saw what the Harg can do. And so she decided to try and kill them, to destroy the Harg. And she's causing trouble, wreaking some havoc with the volcanoes, and she's warned that she'll make a banner, which is apparently what the High Priestess wants. And that is where the issue ends. It's a neat little AU, or AU, or possible future timeline. I love Planet Hulk. It's my favorite Hulk. It's my favorite Hulk story by a lot. I can't imagine another story that would come close. Maybe Immortal Hulk if I read it, which at some point I intend to. But anyway, that is going to do it for now. As always, feel free to like, share, and subscribe. Links to my Facebook, Twitter, Patreon, and PayPal can be found in the description box down below. This is Rock and Roll Spock signing off, saying, live long and rock hard.